Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my presentation. I'm Dr. Anna Ng from St. Francis University, Hong Kong, and the research is sponsored by Research Grant Council, a research matching grant of our university. My paper topic is Reliability, Validity, and Factorial Structure of Teachers' Sentiments, Attitudes, and Concerns about Inclusive Education. The proposition of inclusive education in the literature always proposed that students with diverse disabilities are to study in regular schools and in common classrooms. In fact, there's mixed results of inclusive education. The efficacy is a concern. A review of 10 studies on secondary school students with mild disabilities. And then we find that the results is mixed. It is not possible to draw any solid conclusion about the effectiveness of inclusive education. And Linsley in 2007 also indicated in the paper it includes a meta-analysis on 1,373 papers in 8 renowned journals in the year of 2001 to 2005. And it is found that only 14 papers, around 1%, use of evidence-based outcome measures. And then the 14 papers failed to show effectiveness of inclusive education. Another review by Wong, Radcliffe, and Ho in 2011 find that there is poor academic results achievements in inclusive classrooms. Students with SEN showed negative feelings about inclusive education and poorer self-esteem, poorer social relationship, higher level of anxiety compared with students in schools of special education. So the factors associated with the effectiveness of inclusive education may be varied. It can be related to the teaching methods, resources, supports, teachers' perceptions of inclusive education, according to some literature. And teachers' attitudes towards inclusive education is also one of the factors. So positive attitude can accommodate diversity of abilities and promote into inclusive practice. And negative attitudes of the teachers may result in exclusive classrooms. Teachers' perceptions of inclusive education is also influential. Lohman and others in 2007 considered teachers' perception as an important factor that determines the efficacy of inclusive education. A measure named Sentiments, Attitudes, and Concerns about inclusive education, the abbreviation is SASI, was developed to measure these 3 aspects. It was later revised by Follin and others in 2011 and named as SASI-R, the revised version. The objective of this current study is to examine the psychometric properties of SASI-R in the local setting of Hong Kong, that is, to establish its reliability, validity, and factorial structure. The questionnaire design, section 1 includes some purpose and significance of the study, and section 2 includes items on demographic characteristics, including self-evaluation of inclusive education knowledge. And section 3 is the SASI-R, the revised version. Description of SASI-R. First, examples of sentiments domain include items such as feelings about engaging with people with disabilities. such as afraid to look directly at a person with a disability and difficulty overcoming shock meeting people with physical disabilities. And second, attitudes, acceptance of students with SEM and students with difficulty expressing their thoughts in regular classes, or students who are inactive should be in regular classes. And third, concerns. The domain include questions like items such as apprehensions about inclusive education, such as concerned not having skills to teach, i.e., difficult to give appropriate attention to all students, and data collection procedure. First, we have the questionnaires to be put online, and second, teachers were invited to complete the questionnaire in 10 days, and participation is voluntary and anonymous. Reminder email will be sent in 2 weeks after online is launched. And then we complete the data collection in about 3 weeks' time. We received 107 teachers respondents, and around 50%, 49.5% were males, and 47.7% report having no religious affiliation, and 54.2% attained doctoral or above education level. And the teaching experience, around 16% of them have more than 20 years teaching experience, and then 43% is 10 to 20 years experience, and 42% less than 10 years teaching experience. Our results find that the sentiments, attitudes, and concerns are all attained satisfactory reliability, especially the attitude and the concern here. And then 0.69, this one, the sentiments is marginal. And then as reported by Follin and others in 2011, there's results, the results is sentiments is higher, 0.75, and attitudes and concerns is 0.67 and 0.65. So it's a little bit different from our findings here. So we would say that according to the values in 1991, reliabilities of attitudes and concerns below than the desired level, and it is acceptable for social construct. So we say our reliability, the SASI-R, this scale can be, the reliability is satisfactory for attitude and concern, and sentiment subscale is acceptable. What about the construct validity then? Construct validity is supported by our findings. Relations of subscales with perceived knowledge of inclusive education was in the expected direct relations. That is to say, better knowledge will have less negative sentiments and less concerns, but more positive in attitudes. Let's see the findings here. As you can see from our findings, here association of the level of inclusive policy with SASI-R subscale, here the three domains, and then the knowledge. Let's see here with the higher level of knowledge, and then the sentiments comparatively is lower than the low and average knowledge groups. And here for concerns, also higher knowledge will have less concerns compared with low and average knowledge one. So this is smaller than this low and average group. The value here, sentiments, is also lower than the low and average group. And the attitude is higher, right? More positive here, 22, and here is 17 and 19 for the lower and average knowledge groups. So we would say for the higher knowledge group, as we expected, groups with teachers with high knowledge will have a more positive attitude and less sentiments and less concerns towards IE. And what about the results of factor analysis then? Let's check the variance explained by factors of SASI-R. Our findings indicate that there are 4 factors instead of 3 as found in the literature. The 4 factors account for 66.7% of the total variance. And then in the literature, we will see here for those 40 to 70%, 40 to 60% is can explain the total variance is acceptable. And then if it is higher than the 60%, according to some literature, when this percentage is higher than 60%, such as ours, 66.7%, that means we attain a higher percentage of explaining the total variance then. So let's see one by one. Here, for factor 1, again, these are the attitude items. They cluster into the most important, the factor 1, the first one. So it's the same as found in the literature. All these items on attitudes, they are in group 1 here, as found in the factor loading. What about the second one on concerns? Again, it's clustering together for all those concern factors. That means they are the same domain. This is the factor loading. And then what about the item on sentiments? So in the literature, the items on sentiment, these items, they are all the same, regarded as one factor. But for ours, in our finding, you can see here these sentiments. So these 3 items cluster into one factor, and then the other 2, S9 and S2 item, these 2 items cluster into another factor. We would say this is the subdomain as a 4th factor. This is finding different from the literature. So our factorial structure analysis, we find that generally we will say it is consistent with the 3 domains as reported by Folling and others in 2011, but our findings support the 3 domains, except the sentiments part consists of 2 subdomains. We find that the negative feelings interacting with people with physical disabilities and negative feelings about oneself being physically disabled is different here. This is towards others, and then these 2 items is towards oneself, right? They are different. And then we can say that these are the 2 subdomains, but also related to sentiments. So to conclude, reliability and validity of the SASI-R will support. Factorial structure generally corresponds with the domain of sentiments, attitudes, and concerns, but with sentiments consists of 2 subdomains. SASI-R is cross-validated and can be used in local setting to study teachers' perception of inclusive education. And we have some suggestions for further studies. A CFA, confirmative factor analysis, can be conducted to examine the different factor models of the SASI-R. And then for the construct validity, can also be established with other criterion such as intention to teach IE or advocacy of teaching IE, etc. As in our study, we use the knowledge as one of the criteria. So this is our finding, and thank you.